framing early on for the city with the help again of Cleveland State, Dave Garrison, who ran what was then known as the Urban Center, to create 33 neighbor statistical planning areas.
33.
Yeah, 33 or 35, I think, 35.
Wow.
But 33, well, there were 33 wards. This is interesting that Bob Dykes, who was a well-regarded political pollster, was working with the planning department under Norm and had identified 33 or 4 ethnically distinguishable neighborhoods. And in the first version of the 1980 redistricting, when we had 33 wards, we came very close to replicating those ethnically distinguishable communities with councilmen. But then the Growth Association pushed, and the business committee pushed to reduce the number of councilmen from 33 to 27. It became a total scrum, and the wards were decided very quickly based on pure politics. But we still were able to use that work and the work of the Federation for Community Planning to define neighbor statistical planning areas, which I think we've talked about, where we created discrete census tract-based neighborhoods, which exist to this day as the basic framework for planning in the city, and worked with the neighborhood organizations, several of which were affiliated with the Commission on Catholic Community Action.
So I'm looking here in the book and seeing what you're talking about described here. 1985. 1984. We see the beginning of Civic Vision. So 1984, Section C, Special Urban Design Studies, Prepared Civic Vision Slideshow. And Ward Data Books, Phase 2, data collection 80% completed. You're gathering data on historic properties. You're completing a model of downtown, right?
Yeah, 1 to 50 scale model.
There's a comparative study of North American aquariums.
Yes, we did that too.
And then lots and lots of neighborhood planning. Union Miles, Shaker Square, Warehouse District, Euclid Prospect, Flats Oxbow, as you said, Euclid Avenue Streetscape, West 25th Rapid Station, Old Brooklyn Development. Then in 1985, Lee Harvard Community Development Plan, Southeast Rail Corridor Plan, Kinsman Commercial Strip Study, more Euclid Avenue Streetscape, Midtown Commercial Park, East 105th St. Clair Avenue Commercial Study. So a lot of area studies going on. I want to come back to Civic Vision, though, and tell me about what is this slideshow all about, and was that some kind of awareness campaign that you were doing at that point to tell people what the city was aiming to do with all these area plans that were going to get stitched together in the big quilt?
Yeah. This was, I believe this was a presentation we put together for Voinovich toward a practical civic vision. I still have the slideshow and the tape that went with it. Yeah.
Wow. We have to see that. That would be a fascinating thing. What form is it in?
It's in slides right now.
You're kidding. Do you have a projector to show the slides?
I believe so. It's in my office.
My goodness. Oh, yeah. Wow.
This was a slideshow we put together, with the Growth Association, for Voinovich to talk about toward a practical civic vision. That's what we call it. Borrowed, very intentionally from Corbusier dans une
architecture.
D'aujourd'hui, yeah. towards the new architecture. Well, this is towards a practical civic vision. Towards. I like the word towards.
Onward. Yes.
Onward.
So you prepared. It was like a
fiction.
PowerPoint. What we would call today a PowerPoint.
No, it was initially, I believe, a 9 projector simultaneous.
Yeah, I got it.
Power of slide projection that Jesse Epstein did out of Epstein Design at the ballroom of the what's now Stouffer's or whatever they call it.
Oh my goodness! Now. So you could never recreate that because you need the whole setup to do it. So you say you had the slide carousels?
We took it and put it into a slide carousel and then timed it so my staff and I could go out and do presentations in community groups about the need to do a new vision for the city.
So there was a smaller portable version, and then there was this big multi-screen thing that was
faded in and out, you know.
Yes, or they came together to make one giant image, and then there were all these pictures that would go. It was like
the pixels were this big, not this.
It was like Where's Boston? Do you remember Where's Boston?
Yeah, that's exactly. Yes, I remember
top of the Prudential Center.
Yeah, Where's Boston? Where's Washington? And what's now which was the underside of the Union Terminal at the time. Yeah, that was the era.
And those were, and this is what you were thinking about because you had seen Where's Boston, right?
Correct. Yeah, I'd lived in Boston.
So,
through 76.
Those were very special, presentations because they were really aimed at exciting, people about the possibility of cities and getting them excited about, having a sense of pride. Loving your community. And these were all the cities were in terrible shape, in the 70s and early 80s. So you were pushing back against that.
Oh yeah. Pushing it back against the aftermath of urban riots and default and let's just leave.
So where did you go with the Civic Vision slideshow on
everywhere.
your road show?
Everywhere. We sat down with, you'll see there's a whole set of slideshows also we did on Lakefront. I mean, I was on I took a whole drafting board or table and had it turned into a light table, big light table, because we were constantly coming up with slideshows at the time. But we took it to the West Park Republican Club, to neighborhood organizations, to community meetings, to the Cleveland Engineering Society, wherever we could talk about the need to have a vision, a practical civic vision. And one of the great lines I wrote into the script for Voinovich was, you can't make a plan and expect it to implement itself. We have to do the hard work of putting the plan together and then making it happen.
Where are these scripts now?
I think they're in my office.
We need to, as we proceed with this, we're going to have to take a look at what you've got and see how it's organized. And these slides,
it's not terribly well organized.
Well, the slides are priceless.
I know.
They're absolutely priceless.
The ones that are of value I've kept, and then I've archived a bunch of them over with Bill Barrow over at the Special Collections.
Okay, so you've already done some of that. That's great.
That's the stuff that I folders of slides. I just really take them and take care of them. But the Civic Vision show is still intact in the carousel, and I think the tape is there too. That was simultaneously done with that.
So as part of this is to excite people again, get them interested in the possibility of the city and planning together. You're trying to sell the idea of planning per se. Why do we need to have a city plan? And to raise money to
do it.
The planning process, even before you can start working on implementation.
Right.